Hello there, and welcome to the Data Dudes.
What up, people?
Izzy here,
Rocco?
there. What's going on?
We got a treat for you guys today. Both Izzy and I have had the pleasure of viewing Midsommar. Hopefully, I'm correctly pronouncing that. It could be either Midsommar, but mostly Midsommar, a film by Ari Aster. And I don't know exactly how you want to typecast this movie. Categorically, it can check many different boxes.
Yeah,
But for, I guess, the sake of argument, we will call it psychological thriller, folk horror.
you know what? I like folk horror. Folk horror works.
Folk horror probably works the most. I mean, he himself, Mr. Astor, has dubbed it to be an idyllic opera or folk horror, and I think folk horror is probably more apropos.
It's starring Florence Pugh as Danny, Jack Rayner as Christian, and Pele played by Wilhelm Blomgren. Everyone else, you'll see other actors which you've recognized before, but for now we'll just
Those are the main.
focus
Those
on
are the main ones.
three for now. And all right, you want to start off?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the film opens up.
Spoilers
Some
abound. By
bizarre-
the way. Spoilers abound.
Oh
So-
yeah. Listen, if you care to see this movie, then up front I'm going to tell you, please see it. If you want to see it without the spoilers,
Pause this video, watch the movie, and
Yeah.
come back.
come back. Okay, so it starts out with a bizarre mural, a bizarre eerie ritual taking place. It already starts out with a folk setting, and for all those out there, the setting of the movie by and large takes place in what is supposedly a recluse area of Sweden, very isolated, far apart, as you will come to see, and you already know if you watched it. An isolated throwback, possibly hundreds of years ago. It makes
like
the Amish look modernized.
You would probably, I guess, like a commune. You would say probably.
It's definitely a commune of some old world stuff. I'll leave it at that.
So we start off when we are first introduced to Annie. She is basically frantically texting someone, and we come to find out that it's her sister that she's been trying to get in contact with, but has not been able to. And she's been texting her. Now, we are ready from jump. We don't know what's going on, but we know that she's got what seems to be, I guess, issues, kind of, sort of, so it's
His
eccentric.
sister has some emotional issues.
The fact that she hasn't.
You can tell that even the main character, Danny, Danny played by Florence, she has herself some, I don't know if you want to call it neurological, obsessive.
She's got something going on. Definitely, she's
got some mental, not I want to say mental, emotional issues. Probably more appropriate.
Actually takes medication. Actually, they do, which I don't freaking remember. I know I wrote it down somewhere. Ativan. She takes Ativan. She takes actually.
But even more importantly, and I see the beauty of Ari Aster's directing is that he lays in a lot of subtext, and he tells a lot by showing, and rather than telling. I think he's the master at this, even though this is his second film. Because what does she do too? She calls her boyfriend,
exactly.
and her boyfriend. I wouldn't say he's non-committal, but you can tell from his voice that this is not the first time. This is not the second time. This is not the 100th time. This is a concurring problem.
Yeah, that he's already
he's tired of this.
Kind of annoyed that she's calling him for every little thing. As you can tell, his friends are already like, dude, she's calling again. And obviously he's accustomed to her having these sort of, I guess, breakdowns or little issues always happening in her life, and he has to not so much fix it or anything, but be there for her. And it seems that he is getting kind of tired of being in that position.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and let me know definitely if you think I'm overstepping, but
Right.
I find no other ways to describe this. She's needy, and he is Mr. Insurance Man. So he is always there. He is always for support. He's always 24 hours on call, but she needs a lot. She needs a lot of emotional attention. It could be warranted because we don't know exactly what else is going on until
At this point,
you
we
want
don't
to take
know.
us to why actually her worries have a concrete base.
Yeah,
This to me is great
she's great
as far as an introduction to a character.
the way it's shown and the way it's. At first, her percep, you perceive the character to be what, like you said, super needy and over the top. She's calling her parents. She's calling her sister, trying to find out what's going on. They show a scene of of her parents sleeping. I guess didn't hear the phone or whatever, and then
Yeah.
on more than 3 messages and no answer. Then I guess she gets a call, or she finds out that all her fears were basically real, and something bad did happen. Because, as a matter of fact, if I can see if I have it correctly, what the last message that the sister sends Danny, everything is black. Mom and dad are coming with me. Goodbye. End of quote.
Yes.
Long story short, the sister did commit suicide via carbon monoxide poisoning, which in turn also took her parents with her. Now, the way it's filmed is pretty, shocking, and it's in the simplicity, but at the same time, you see how it was all planned out. She had the cars running with the exhaust attached to a tube going through the house into the parents' bedroom, past the bedroom into the sister's bedroom, which is attached directly to her mouth as she inhaled all the carbon monoxide.
This was such a preconceived suicide.
Crazy.
Suicide murder.
Crazy.
And my only beef, and again, this is a small minority because I am in the medical field, is usually with carbon monoxide poisoning, you have a very blue tinted skin and cherry red lips. Save that for another title. I can understand. I can forgive and look over that because of a artistic point of view.
Yeah, it was.
The whole point is that they're dead. They're dead.
For more for the fact, because I don't even think it made it seem like the show threw up. I don't think you would even wouldn't you just go to sleep and that's it?
Yeah, pretty much. So this is obviously a traumatic event.
Oh, forget it.
And this traumatic event lays the groundwork for why Danny, who already was kind of an emotional wreck, is now completely wrecked. And if Christian, sidebar for a pagan sacrifice movie, perfect name, Christian,
I found these results.
Christian wanted out. If he wanted out, he would be the totally biggest dick in the world if he got out right now, because she's at the most vulnerable. She is at a very low point. You're talking about her sister committing suicide and murdering her parents. We talk about her possibly paranoid or overly worrisome state now being justified.
Yep.
And you can tell she needs more than anything. She needs someone to be around, and that someone is unfortunately going to be Christian, who, with his friends' peer pressure and with his own tired act of it all, not to mention the hint, not so subtle hint, that their love life is not exactly fireworks.
No.
It's almost like an obligation.
Exactly.
An obligation that you no longer want to keep. You know,
100%.
it's like, it's not even like, oh, I have to take out the trash. Oh no, it's like, oh, I have to take out the trash.
Yeah, it almost
I
seems
feel
like
so
he's with her
bad.
because he has to be with her. Because if not, he will feel compelled to. If God forbid something happens to her, it'd be his fault. But not because he feels that he has to be there with her, which is key throughout the movie, especially towards
It's
the end.
very key. What happens a little later on, right? There's a party. And Christian mentions he's to Danny, I'm going to go just step out, maybe be an hour or so, just hang out with the fellas, friends. Almost begging, right? Almost begging for approval. Like, yeah, I got to go. I want to go to this party. I need a break from you. I need to hang out. I didn't purposely invite you to go. She kind of invites herself.
Right.
Oh, I'll go. And then she ends up going. And this awkward scene, again, sets up a lot of stuff. I can say that I know intentionally, listening to some interviews with Ari Aster, that he did not leave any surprises for us, although the ending is kind of. It's the way he presents it, which I think is very masterful.
Well, you do know
they're at this party.
Sorry to cut you off. You do know that the movie was originally NC-17, and according to the director Ari Aster, 30 minutes were cut from the original. Which
yes, I'm actually dying to see the director's cut.
Yeah, it's a 171 minutes long, and I actually have a synopsis of the scenes that are missing. I don't know if you will get into that later on, or you wanted to be surprised by it, you know. But yeah. So anyway,
I mean, they're at the party.
Back to the party,
and they're talking about going to Sweden. And it was a trip they're going to take their mind off things, meet different people. It's kind of like a summer trip.
But why are they going to Sweden?
Yes, they've been invited.
One of the good friends, Pele. I'm gonna say Pele. I'm not.
I go with Pele.
Pele. He's Swedish. Actually, he's from this commune, which it's the whole basis of the movie later on, where it's Midsommar is happening now. So, as his friends, he wants to bring them along to show them the culture and the sights and whatever else. Now, the other friend, Josh, is doing his thesis on Midsommar. So, obviously, he's going to go. He had a plan to go also. Now, Christian doesn't know what his thesis is going to be on, so he's going on for shit and giggles. The other friend, Mark, which you've seen in a million movies, he plays a good asshole to this one. He is, I think, just going on for the ride, just to meet some hot Swedish chicks, basically.
Mark plays the role of the shallow friend.
Yes.
Who's going to hit on anything that moves. He's going to be Dick. He's going to do what he pleases. He's the total quote unquote personified asshole of the bunch. Yeah. But Pele does mention very subtly that it's a celebration that takes place every 90 years.
Yep.
So it is not just a vacation. 90 years, like a centennial freaking thing. So it's a big deal. It's not just a vacation. It's kind of a very special occasion, and he considers them very special friends to invite them along to this thing. Which, right? It just lathered with foreshadowing up and down.
Oh, get it.
So the main thing to take out of this scene is that Danny's taken off guard. She does not know about this trip.
Yeah, she had no
kind of a big deal. And then she looks stupid. She feels stupid. She looks stupid. She looks like, oh, you didn't tell me. You let me know right then and there. If they had not mentioned it, I would not know. They get back to her place, and she just wants to talk. Now, by right, she has every right to be upset. But they're a couple. They're going through some tough times. But what?
Already acting a little dickish in a sense, like all defensive, because okay, yeah, you had this planned out, but something horrific happened to your girlfriend. Now,
yeah,
just assume you're gonna freaking just take up and leave for 2 weeks. That's just pretty ballsy, I guess.
And if he needed that little vacay to get himself right, you got to come straight. You got to come correct. You got to set it out the table, put it out front, be like, listen, I'm going to take these 2 weeks. I go over here. I think you're in a better spot, whatever. I just need to clear my head. Call me anytime. All this stuff. It just comes pretty all of a sudden in a very awkward embarrassing. For any other circumstance, this is an all-out, knockdown, drag-out fight, right, between a couple. But because she's in this dark place, she kind of begs him to stay. Don't leave her. Despite being screwed over and embarrassed.
Yeah, she kind of does that. So what did he do? Of course, like, a clueless, guy he is, he invites her without wanting her to go.
And
kind of like
without telling the buddies.
Assuming that, oh, you know what, you should come, knowing full well that she's not going to go, but to appease his own conscience, and so that she can say, oh, you know what, no, you go, it's okay, I'll be fine. You go.
He's quickly being carved out to be a selfish kind of guy himself. That he's not all into this relationship. That he's looking out for himself. That he doesn't come correct. He doesn't come honest with his girlfriend. He's got issues too. And I like the fact that there's no perfect characters in this whole thing. They have their own separate issues.
Yeah.
So with that being said,
yeah, they all have their issues. They all have their basically they all have their own plans and machinations.
Before you know it, the friends are told that she's coming. The friend who invited them, Pele.
But don't worry, she's not gonna come. But don't.
Yeah, but Pele makes a move on her.
Pele, he kind of.
It's not consoling. Don't give me that crap. There's no ifs and buts about it.
No. At this point, no.
He makes a move on her.
It was a consoling move. It was because.
Oh, that was his in. That was his in, though. That was his in to get.
No, I know how you feel. I'm so sorry. My parents.
Yeah, but where's his hand go? Where does his hand go?
And then
it's not around her. It's not consoling her. It's not a hug. His hand is on her hand, which is on her knee. And he tries to console by saying that his family was tragically burned too. He's basically an orphan. He knows more than anybody else, more than the boyfriend, Christian, what it is to feel loss of family. Christian's in the same freaking apartment. They all share a freaking apartment together. They're all buddies, quote unquote. He's making a move on your girl. Again, there are no good guys really in this thing. But what you do like from a director and editor point of view is you can tell, and this is where, again, I'm really, really pumping this guy. Ari's a great director for being a young director. He cuts from her running to the bathroom, still being emotionally shooken up, throwing up in the can, and all of a sudden the can is in the airplane. They're on the airlines. They're touching down in Sweden. So I kind of like how he moved the story along. He doesn't really waste a beat. He drops a lot of information there. It's really massively done. And not to go back and forth on things, he does master long shots, continuous shots, when to use a lot of music and sound, when to use silence.
Yeah, no, actually, that kind of did drive me crazy because I kept raising and lowering the volume because the sound was so freaking loud, and yet the dialogue was so low, and it kept throwing me off. That's a pet peeve of mine. It's but that's specific. But I was watching the movie, and I knew you would appreciate all the shots when they're going down into the road, and the whole camera just kind of turns all the way around, and then it spins all the way back around, and I think would have gotten a.
It's the upside down, people. It's the upside down. And again, more foreshadowing. It's going to turn upside down, and everybody, as soon as they boarded the freaking plane, they're heading for Sweden. What happens? They touch down in Sweden. They're in the car. Everyone in the car looks like, I love to be here. I don't want to be here with her.
Yeah, no.
They look like somebody shot their pet cat. That happy to be there, but they're in Sweden. They're in this festival. They finally get out.
Festival.
Huh?
It's a 9-day festival.
It's a 9-day festival, but they finally get there. They drive from the airport. You could tell they're in some rural place. There is no paved road. They're on a dirt road. 4 hours. They're on a dirt road. They finally stop in the middle of nowhere because there's wandering townsfolk all dressed in white linen with this headbands. These things right here. Look, these beautiful these
But
things
no,
in their heads.
but before that, they run into Pete's brother.
Right. And what they're offered. They're offered some shrooms. Okay, it's not working. But you know what I mean. They're offered some shrooms.
Yeah.
So this is like your greeting, which is awesome. Hey, and his brother brings two strangers too.
Yes.
His brother brings friends from the British Isles.
Simon and Connie.
Simon and Connie, poor Simon and Connie, right? For all you horror folks out there, you
London.
know that once they introduce Simon and Connie, these guys are goners first. They're the first goners. You can peg them a mile away. But this is your welcome package. You tripping out on shrooms.
Of course, she
Just sitting behind trees, and she didn't want to.
No,
She didn't want to.
yet. And he's like, actually, trying to be all supportive boyfriend. You know what? It's okay. I won't do it if you when you're ready, we'll do it. And she's like, you know what? No, I'll do. So you take the shrooms. Obviously, she has, not the greatest trip, and she thinks back and sees her parents, right? With
Yeah.
the trip.
Like going through the apartment again and discovering the bodies. But
basically they slept all night. She slept all night.
Yeah,
because
she's
it's still
not.
daytime. It's still daytime.
And again, this is Midsommar in Sweden, the part of the world where you have almost continuous daylight for a certain part of the year. And you might have a few hours of darkness, but it's not even fully dark. So you basically get all this sun, just like in the wintertime, you're going to get almost 24 hours of darkness. You get a few hours of sunlight, but it gets really dark. I guess that really brings upon the history of the sun god worship or the pagan worship to the ancestries, nature, as you will see animals, bears, the like. As you see, she trips out. You're right. She sleeps all night. She's knocked out. She's completely spent. Everybody's now on foot.
Yeah.
So now you're following on foot trail to get to Hogar. And as it opens up, it's a very nice pastoral scene. It's like a hidden hideaway Eden-like place. Again, sidebar, it's filmed in Hungary.
Yes.
But in the interview by Ari, he mentions that they went through many cuts and edits and many hundreds of takes to get the right angles, to find the right scene, to find the right place, for set design, for just backdrop. He chose a very good place. You probably would never associate that with Sweden, but it's kind of like an Eden-like forest.
Yeah, it's like a huge, sprawling freaking field where you have the woods, and it looks very serene, very almost like the
flowers.
Yeah, and how you would picture it to be. It's exactly it. All the people dressed in their white clothes and the flowers and the whole thing. The old folk coming with beards, and it's like
they almost all look alike too. Again,
yes,
some similar themes from Hereditary. But there is a reason why. Just like you would understand from any isolated community for hundreds, maybe thousands of years, they don't really get to go out much. They don't really intermingle.
They only people when people are invited in, so to speak.
Yes, we will find out that later. Again, the clothes, he had insisted that the designers make the clothes as close as they can with hand, needle, and thread, and every costume, even though it has some intricate uniqueness, they were all made to be this brilliant white. And it's beautiful because all the non-community people, the visitors, the couple from the British Isles, and then the four guys and the girl from America, all dressed in regular American clothes, modern day clothes. So they stick out like sore thumbs. You could see between the backdrop of, again, really, really hard the work by the director and the crew and the editors. They did a great job to visually bring this to light. You just come from college town atmosphere and you're now in a different place. You can't even identify this place really on Earth. And so they're there.
You know, a little side thing. I mean, I give credit to the director and how quickly the production moved along. A note was made that this film was greenlit on May 18th of 2018. It premiered on June 18th, 2019. So
he was editing to the last day.
Yeah. So as soon as he finished Hereditary, which will be next, one of our next reviews, he started this one.
Well, what's the backdrop? The backdrop is this Swedish company had approached him to create a slasher horror type movie based with Sweden or with Sweden folklore or any combination of which. Initially, he had put it on the back burner. He thought it intriguing, but not intriguing enough that he would do it next. But do you know the background behind what kind of spurred him now?
No, you tell.
So he actually went through a breakup of a long-term relationship. So Ari said, he wrote the script right after as also kind of a cathartic mechanism to get over it. But merging the Swedish folklore with his breakup, it just seemed like the thing to do right now. And it made the most sense. Once I heard that.
It even makes more sense to me now. Like, wow.
It makes all sense. Although I must, for clarity, I must tell the folks out there that none of the characters has anything to do with what his ex did to him or what he wants to do to his ex. All of that is movie.
I would hope not so.
He wanted to make that abundantly clear. All right, this is a movie, but the insight to the movie, which as Izzy just knows, right, acknowledges right now, once you go through that kind of a breakup, and you feel what you feel. A lot of the movie is really emotionally driven, and you get to a dark place, and you get to a contemplative place, and you get to highs and lows. Maybe not all things you act upon, but you feel. You feel what he feels. And I'll get to the other Swedish folk lore that is incorporated. Izzy might expound on that as well. But when we get to it, I'll drop in a few tidbits that I found out myself, which I found to be fascinating. But, okay, let's move along.
Back to where we're at. The first day they're there happens to be Danny's birthday.
Yes.
And, of course, Christian, like the good boyfriend.
Any dude out there with a girlfriend knows you don't miss that date.
Especially how fragile their relationship is and how fragile Danny is. He forgets. He does not remember about good boy Pele. He does remember.
You can forget Christmas. But don't you dare forget the birthday and Valentine's.
Pele remembers, and he's somewhat of an artist. He draws basically a drawing of Danny and give it to her, which is a striking visual. And she's like, "Oh my God, thank you!" This and that. And then he says,
"Hey, that's move number two. That's move number two."
But let's not forget, what does Pele say to her? He's my good friend and I like him, but ... Danny, do you feel held by him? Does he feel like home to you? Now, if that's a move, that's a move. Officially.
Dude, for a guy with English his second, maybe third language.
Big move, huh?
He hit a home run out of the park with that line.
Yeah,
he hit a grand slam with that line.
He was pretty receptive, and then she kind of like snaps out of it. And then Pele on the side tells Christian, "Oh, by the way, dumbass, it's her birthday." So he goes and gets like a cake or something and, tries to quickly wish her happy birthday.
He gets a cheap-ass candle and his big lighter, and the thing doesn't even light. It's a pathetic attempt to make good, and he lies through his teeth. Oh, you didn't think I would forget, right? And all this other stuff. I mean, you can tell their relationship is long done. No sparks are there. And she's the last thing on his mind. She's a burden. She's not a partner. She's a burden. And she's a wet blanket through the whole beginning of this festival.
Yeah,
Wet blanket.
I have to be honest. I mean, this is she is difficult to be around, though. Let's be honest.
Oh, make no bones about it. She's a wet blanket who earns a title.
You know, I mean, she should be single at this point in time. They should not be together, but
She's not.
it is.
She makes Debbie Downer look like she's doing backflips. You know, I wouldn't want to be around her. And again, no cold-hearted diss on her. She's gone through some hard shit.
Oh no, of course, but
she shouldn't be on this merry trip to Sweden in the summer festival.
Not being a trip to Sweden. She's not been in a relationship. But moving on, they're checking out the area. They're showing. Oh my God, there's a bear. There's a bear in a freaking cage, and like, yeah, it's a bear.
Out of nowhere, right? There's a bear.
The bear that's hanging out, and they're like, dude, there's a bear. And all right, they just shove it off, whatever. And then as you pan, another great scene, which I bet you appreciate a lot. The camera keeps panning, and shows this big, I guess, would be like a towel or a flag or a tapestry, and it shows a scene.
It's a big tapestry.
Yeah, and it shows a scene, and at first you wait a second, and it basically shows how a woman or girl is making a guy fall in love with her using specific, techniques,
I was just wanting to sit back and watch you struggle with explaining this.
Shall we get into it, or we'll let them see it by themselves? I don't know. What do you think?
It's a love potion.
Yes, basically.
It's a nasty, grimy, gross love potion that is probably rooted in many different cultures. Completely
I've heard from
unscientific.
Mama's told me about this potion in the past.
Yes.
Be careful. Do not eat any food that a girl may cook for you if you do not know them.
Yes.
They will.
Love potion number 9.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. So.
Yes, I loved it from a filmmaker's point of view. Again, he shows in a very nice way. He didn't go out of his mouth. This is the realm of the reality around them. There's tapestry everywhere. And for those that want to watch it again, which I will watch it again too, look at the murals in the sleeping house.
Look at the murals. Look at all the runes. Look at all the.
Look at the garden scene.
Look at everything is. I won't say
everything is purposeful.
Everything has a purpose. Everything is placed there to. It foretells everything, basically.
Just an aside, because now we're in with the community. You've seen enough with the community. Yeah. This is a close-knit community that I'm not going to say too much now, but I'll say it later. They kind of beat with one heartbeat.
Yes.
They feel the same. They talk the same.
Literally.
They smile the same.
Yes.
It's also a community that apparently embraces.
They would even bang the same.
Yes. They embrace drugs like not many communities. I mean, you see them crushing up different flowers and seeds and putting into drinks as though we're making lemonade and iced tea. And they do this. They do this openly. They embrace it. It's part of their culture, part of their living. It's part of their everyday. Not so dissimilar with other cultures, but in today's modern day and age, to do it as much as they do it, woo!
Well, I mean, their life is like seasons. Actually, the scene where he explains it.
That was a perfect scene. And again, he was a great vehicle since he's the only one that's from that village, and he speaks English, and those are his friends. He explains to his American friends that what his culture believes in is that there's a cycle and a purpose. You grow to a certain age, you're an adult. Past a certain age, and it's in perfect sequences. Was it 16, 18? I forget.
It's
But
1 to 8 is spring, 14 to 36 is summer, little pilgrimage, 36 to 54 is fall, and 54 to 72 is the
and
winter.
what happens? What happens at 72? He says that.
They're laid out to pasture, basically.
He literally says that. The dead. For what it is, they're a little bit, there's some shock value and all, but they're also in a new place. So the next day they have this festival, this feast. And again, it's eerie for all of us who come and go and do our thing on our own schedule. We, as Americans, as part of free loving society, you eat when you want, you sleep when you want, you do whatever you want, even if you're in a group setting, family setting. But the tables are set up in such a crisscross fashion. Everybody sits at the same time, stands at the same time.
Kind of like a weird X type
diamond. Yeah,
it's a rune. It's obviously
it's a rune that it mirrors one of the symbols of the rune. But then everyone's in white, right? The outsiders are in their American clothes and British clothes, and then everyone's standing, and you don't question anything. You don't ask why. You're just waiting, and then I don't know if they're a couple, but an older man, an older woman come in almost a light blue.
They are a couple because we don't know that, but in the beginning, where a quick fun fact, on purposely the movie when they're talking in Swedish, they're not. You see no subtitles.
Yes,
it's done on purpose so that you feel like the characters feel when you don't know what the fuck they're talking
right.
about.
Again, it's a smart move on his part.
Yeah,
it's a smart move not to say and to say.
Then I guess the leader, I forgot her name, which we'll probably look that up right now.
Well, that's another thing. There's not really one leader. There's one guy in a mask sometimes, but most of the time, it's as though everyone knows their role.
But the lady, she was like, I guess, the high, what they call her? Jeez. They called her something. Let me see if I can find her name. Go on. I'll find her.
But I hear you. So they wait for this old couple to.
The Civ?
Okay. Could be Civ. They get to their seats, and then in almost robotic fashion, they sit down. And as soon as they start picking up your utensils, then everybody else, in a cascading domino effect, pick up their utensils. Almost robotic, but not so much. It's more symbolic that everyone falls in line.
Yes.
And you don't pick up your utensils until it's your time. Of course, they're Americans and they do what they want. They start eating when they want, drink what they want, do whatever. But the little waiting, everyone falls in line. There's this crescendo of knives and forks. And everybody they get in line to put back their plates and do stuff. And then they all walk out to this cliff area where everybody's spread out. They look like they're 6 feet apart. They're all spread out. And they're just standing looking at this cliff. And then here's the Americans and the British couple. And they're like, okay, this is the first kind of ceremony thing that we're engaged in. We're going to witness what's going on here. They're just standing, looking. And lo and behold, Izzy, who steps out in front on that cliff? I don't know. It looks like a 500-foot drop. I think it's the lady first.
Lady falls first. Now, don't forget, at the bottom of the cliff, there's this huge boulder, like at the base of.
Yeah, somewhat flattened boulder.
Yeah.
And
now, everyone is watching, and you have Simon and Connie, who are a couple. If we they're looking, and everyone's looking at what the hell's going on. Now, I do believe that I could be mistaken. Don't get me wrong on the pronunciation. This is what is called. That was it. Atuspan, something along those lines. I might mangled the pronunciation of it, but Astupan or something along those lines. It was nonetheless the lady. She essentially
there's like a sun dance.
Yes, reaches to the sun, falls off the cliff, directly onto the boulder on the ground, and just dead. Her head is explodes basically.
So let me ask you, Izzy, did you see that coming?
Actually, my notes, I thought that they were going to be killed. When I saw them go on top, I said, yeah, I figured something bad was going to happen. But I could show you. I mean, that already when with the head of the table, they were chanting and breathing heavy. I already put sacrifice, ? And then
Yeah.
I thought they were going to be murdered. I didn't think they were going to willingly sacrifice themselves. But and the makeup one, the old man. Go ahead. You tell him that.
Well, no. To finish that thought, I saw that coming myself. Except I kept saying, no, he's not going to do this. And then I kept saying, oh, something's going to happen to stop it, or the American's going to say something and stop it, or they're going to fake us out about jumping, but it's going to look symbolic. I love how the fact that it was neither fast-paced or glorified. It was more of like an accepted norm.
Yes.
Even the people standing there had somewhat quasi-expressionless faces. They weren't like chanting, jump, jump, jump. They weren't saying, no, don't. It happened, and they almost look relieved. And she dies instantaneously. Her head gets squashed.
But when the old man
jumped, take it away.
And I guess he misjudged the jump. So he's like...
it's fascinating.
He survives the fall. And but they're all aghast because he survived. They're like, damn, he should have died when he hit the freaking thing.
But it's the first time, really, you get to see all the crowd in unison gasp in horror. And then as you can think and imagine, pagan communal custom, 4 people march out there with this huge mallet. They pan on the guy's leg. The guy's leg is torn into shreds.
Think of Harley Quinn's mallet, but imagine that in real life, not colorful. It's that big, and they just
longer and bigger.
Boom, whoop, and they just
the first woman takes a whack at the face, and it crushes the skull, and it caves in. Then hands it to the next person, who gladly takes it and smashes again. Well, the first one didn't happen. The second one, first one he's dead. Second one, he's beyond dead. He's pancaked. And then I guess they keep doing it until they're for sure it's done. And then the crowd feels more at calm. The irate, horrified looks automatically turn to relief, sorrow. Not even sorrow, just relief.
At this time,
everybody's horrified.
Connie and Simon, the kids from London, they're the ones that are screaming like, "What the fuck's going on?"
Oh, they're cursing. They're freaking out.
What are you doing? You guys are fucked up. This is crazy. You murderers, all kinds of stuff. To the point where is it Pele or Ulf? No, Ulf was their friend. Has to freaking take them away, and then they're like, "Didn't you explain to them what's going on?" And they're like, "Yeah, kind of, but not really. I mean, I didn't tell them we're gonna go and kill people. I mean, so."
But they weren't killed, and now that
you know what I mean. The point is, we weren't taking them to then we see a bunch of old dudes freaking jump off a cliff and have their heads smashed. So.
Sidebar. Yeah. In an interview with the Swedish producers or the Swedish people who had brought this first to Ari Aster's attention, this folklore and every folklore in this movie is rooted in truth. So he didn't make any of this stuff up. As you see in the beginning of the movie, the middle, this death scene, and everywhere else, this is actually legit. To the point that the Swedish director said, this is not Swedish history. This is actually truth in folklore. The thing that he brought up, which I found a little disturbing, but more eye-opening, is that the traditional way that the old folk go is to be pushed. They're pushed off a cliff. I'm thinking, who the hell's doing the pushing? But so this is not horror made, envisioned, and created by somebody's imagination. Half the stuff in this movie is legit folk tradition. I don't know how concerning it is. I mean, from the hallucinogens to the burning to the human sacrifice to the old people, euthanasia, suicide. This is legit, people. So I'm like, wow.
When they released this movie in Sweden, people were like, "Oh, it's gonna be a horror movie." they actually love it, and it's considered a black comedy. This movie is considered over there.
Yeah, you see, it's really your audience.
They love it, and it's considered like a black comedy. Like, you know, it's funny. It's like, you know, it's funny to us. Like, you know, ha 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 ha.
Yeah, I know. And for us, we're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So Danny goes off. She wants to be in her alone place. Christian goes off.
Yeah.
He has the wheels in his head's turning, and for knowing where Danny's place is in her head emotionally, and now just seeing a suicide of old people, which is celebrated by the community, she's beyond fucked up. I think she's beyond reach.
Yeah.
Christian is being a cold-hearted dick because he has a selfish brain thought in his mind, and they go off, and what happens there?
Well, what happens now? Freaking Danny already. She didn't seem to be as affected as the others were at this. Then she internalizes, and she's getting her shit ready. She wants to leave. Daddy approaches her and essentially wants to recruit her, saying it's a family. Well, at least that's the way I took it. Wants to recruit her to stay. Yeah. You know, while
they've taken a liking to her, the community.
Actually, yes. Well, that goes into, you know, the whole May Queen. Do what do they call it? May Queen.
Yeah, towards the end. Yeah, that's
and
big deal.
So Christian, who never discovered his thesis, at this point gets the bright idea he wants to do it on Midsommar as well. So Josh, who originally had this, he's like, dude, this is fucked up. You can't do this. Already, you know. He was like, well, I'm going to do it. You know, he was like, but you knew that I was going to do this.
Josh played by William Jackson Harper, one of my favorite actors. Actually, I've seen him, The Good Place, and other movies. He's very articulate, very well. He's the cerebral of the group, right? You could tell he's always reading a book.
I was always about this. I was always going to do this, and he's like, well, you know, I guess we can do it together. Because I already spoke to Pele, and he told me that I could speak to the elders. He was like, dude, that's fucked up. Whatever. He goes to Pele. Pele says, you know what? Christian asked me first. He's my friend as well. You guys can do it together, as long as you change the names of the elders.
Yeah, no real names.
No real names, and you can, you have access to everything, but everything, on the up and up. Josh is pissed off. He's still doing it. Christian's happy because he just ripped off, his good friend's idea, and Christian's kind of a dickhead. I mean, it's bottom line,
No, he's a complete dick. He's a dick. The other guy's an asshole. It goes sideways from here, and now you can see division within the group. A little fraction brewing here. His sister's giving Christian the eye. Right,
yeah, in one of the dances, she kicks him like right in the ribs, like kicks him right in the ass, like trying to.
Yeah, it's kind of like juvenile love infatuation, where you pull the and there's a lot. It just gets into it fast. I have to admit, the beginning, I don't know, first half hour was a little kind of slow to go. I was waiting for things to build up. I understand what the build up is, but as you get,
it's a slow burn. I mean.
It is a slow burn of a movie.
If you're expecting freaking shock, jump scare, gory, you're not gonna get this.
No, it's not the kind of movie.
You gotta sit down and you're gonna have a fully developed story. You're gonna enjoy it from the beginning. You're gonna love it, you're gonna hate it. There's no between. And if you love it or if you enjoy it, you will watch it again and you will enjoy it more. And you will get more out of successive viewings after from the movie. But if you just want to see a slasher flick, then this is probably not for you. You should still watch it, as because a movie is good enough to be watched, but you won't appreciate it as much.
No, in that sense, if you go back to even The Shining took a while to develop. The beginning parts of the movie, it's not right away there in the hotel. You see, you're shown. There's issues with Jack. There are issues with the family, the wife. There's subtleties dropped about child abuse and alcohol abuse, and they're just going to go to his woods. He's got economic problems. Not to go deep into The Shining, but I understand in that kind of a movie, it takes off from a certain point on. Here, I think after the suicide scene, it finally takes off.
Yeah, but even takes off. The Shining, real quick, it's even the scenes that are very popular in The Shining are they're the real horror scenes. people don't. I mean, you have your fans who love The Shining and fans who are like, you know, take it or leave it. But that's for another day, for another review, for another show, for another episode. In the middle of the night, Pele's sister, one who took a liking to Christian, puts a little stone under Christian's bed. Now, Josh notices this. He's like, "What the hell?" Next day, he goes to Pele and says, "Look, I forgot her name.
Yeah, the sister put this.
And he's like all happy, kind of like, oh, she's reaching womanhood, meaning she's at the age of she's becoming a woman, so she's ready to have sex, and I guess she took a liking to Christian. Now, unbeknownst to Christian, or whether or not he likes to or wants to or not, it's just is what it is, and this is
He mostly disregards it. I think he's caught up in, now that he's found his thesis subject, he wants to further that. He's now talking to elders. He's doing his interviews. He's taking his mental notes. He got a spark in him that he didn't have before, because he was in a relationship with Danny that was souring, because he himself maybe didn't find his niche. And then you have Josh on the side also interviewing an elder, reading texts, questioning different things, and they question, oh, how do you find mates? And they tell them, oh, mostly it's a lot of inbreeding, but sometimes they need to go out into other genetic territories, get outsiders to come in, kind of mix up the gene pool, because there is a character, Ruben, who does paintings, but he is mentally, yes, he's an oracle, but he's mentally I'm trying to find the PC words for this. So he's got mental issues, developmental issues.
Yes.
But because he's considered an oracle, because he's an intended.
He's like every predictable, freaking crazy inbred horror movie you've seen. He's that mangled and that messed up, but he's the oracle. So the paintings he does,
he does paintings.
Yeah, everything is based off, whatever he says goes. And of course, Arn, the elder who's talking to Josh, says, like, no, Ruben was a product of inbreeding. All of our oracles are deliberate products of inbreeding.
They know this. This by design. And then he does the mistake. This is where Josh makes two mistakes. He asks if he can take a picture, and the old elder is absolutely not. And then he asks, to maybe read the books or read other books that were not open to him, whatever. And he says no, So there's a lot more foreshadowing here, like, oh, Josh is overstepping his bounds here. Josh is going to go too. Meanwhile, just to backtrack quickly, Connie and Simon, Connie's running around frantic. Where's Simon? And she said, oh, Simon caught the last train to Clarksville. Yes. Yeah. There's no train. There's no bus. There's no Uber. And he said, well, how can it's possible? They're a couple. They're a manly and love couple. You could tell they care about each other. They're not going to just jump ship.
Why would you do this? And he just happened to
right.
And room in the car to go on the train. He's going to go, get dropped off, and then come right back. So Connie's fine.
So you already know they're done. So now, they're missing.
Somehow I might be getting my timeline mixed up. Around this time, Mark has to take a piss.
Yeah.
So Mark says, you know what? I gotta go take a leak. So he goes to the woods or to the bushes. It's a big bush.
Big dead tree.
Yes, exactly. Big dead tree, and he goes and relieves himself. One of the dudes loses his mind.
Ulf,
exactly.
Played by Henrik Nordlund. Ulf loses his shit.
Yes.
And it's the first time you see one of the villagers lose their shit.
Yeah.
Before that, they're all happy, peaceful, drugged up.
You're pissing on my people.
Because this tree is where the ashes of the elders are scattered across. It's an ancestral sacred tree. And this guy decides to piss on the tree. It's like pissing on a graveyard.
Your little fucking American friend, he's pissed on the Volta. I know I mangled that, but yeah, but that's essentially that's what he did. And Mark said, "What the fuck did I do? I had to go to the bathroom. I had to take a piss," which is the funniest thing. And already it goes from here on out. Mark is essentially fearful for his life, with good reason. So
I mean, Mark knows at the feast that night. Mark keeps wondering. Okay, the elder there, Ulf, who scolded him, is staring him down.
he's giving me the
He can't he can't get away. This dude is gonna kill me, and you can't get more. Yes,
but previous to this, already actually there was one of the one of the girls there was actually giving him the eye. Did actually I guess was attracted to him, and he was really flirted with, and he was like, wait, okay, so he's kind of feeling himself. But now that Ulf kind of likes him too, and wants to destroy him, he feels even more scared. So this is where Christian receives his special cake at dinner. So
with the special ingredient.
Yes, with special ingredient.
When he pulls it out, he goes, "Is that a pube?" Yes, folks,
it is.
So pubic hair was inserted into the cake. Again, part of the love potion number 9 ritual. And out of all the glasses that everybody was getting,
it's a little bit dark. They're all like drinking, I guess, what seems
the
to
drink.
I would say pineapple juice or orange juice.
Everybody has, they have like an amber tinted drink. And only he gets a grapefruit.
It looks like grapefruit juice, exactly. It's a little, it was mixed with a little bit of red, to say the least. So,
yes, indeed.
So, I mean, people are just looking at that, and they're not even taken aback. They're kind of almost laughing it up that yeah, it basically was a love potion number 9. It was a freaking that the young girl likes Christian, and it was trying to basically mate with him, I guess. So now at this point now at nighttime, this is when we fully see shit hitting the fan, and we know that even though we already suspect that bad things are happening, we actually see the first bad thing happen. Josh escapes during the night.
He sneaks out.
He sneaks out.
We don't know yet where he was going to take pictures or he was going to investigate more of the readings that was not allowed to him. Either way, he was in the sacred temple, for the word library, where he was not supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, who sneaks up into the temple and scares him? It's not Mark. It's somebody wearing Mark's face.
Well, for him,
he says, "You're not supposed to be here."
He's like, "Mark, you gotta get out of here, Mark." Then using that same mallet that they used to bash the old man's head in, they bash Josh's skull in, and
one shot, and he's cracked open, and there's blood, and then they drag him away. So we suspect, no proof yet. We suspect, but there's no proof yet. Connie and Simon are done. Josh just got the axe. Mark has been missing since dinner.
Yes, because at dinner, when
what happens when the old man Ulf is giving the eye, and then some maiden, because come with me, I show you something. Come with me. So 4 gone. We're doing math right? No.
Yeah, Connie and then
Simon,
Mark.
Mark. Yeah.
Because
so now you're left with.
You get that Connie also happened to take a train, and no one can find her. So that coincidentally, so yeah.
In the morning, what happens now? So they wake up. They can't find Mark. They can't find Josh. And then the elders come, and they tell Danny and Christian, you know what? One of the books is missing, and we're not pointing fingers here, but listen, we'll leave the door open. Have somebody just put the book back. No questions asked. Everything will be forgiven. We understand there's maybe some miscommunication, but just put the book back. And of course, in classic Dick move, if it doesn't signify yet what kind of a selfish prick Christian really is,
Yep.
he hangs out his buddy Josh to dry. His buddy Josh, who is in competition to do the same thesis, who they're friends with supposedly, he just throws him under the bus.
He's
yeah,
like, well,
he throws him on the bus now.
No, Mark wouldn't do anything, but Josh, I'm not, I don't know, but
I heard him talking about this, and he's doing a thesis about that, and I can't really vouch for him. He even goes on to say that we're really not that close friends. Danny looks horrified. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's your boy. You guys are friends. You guys are doing this. Who are you? How could you possibly say that about Josh? She's the only one now. Things are starting to sink in with her. Like, what the hell's going on here? What's the deal? But they still proceed with the day's rituals.
Yeah, and today they
can't stop the schedule.
They find out who the May Queen is. The May Queen is like the big would be like
it's a dance off.
It's a dance off, but how would you describe what the May Queen is? I guess it would be like, I don't know, like the homecoming queen situation, which is a rough.
With a little more power.
Yeah, but yeah, she's
actually a lot more power.
Yeah, she's probably I guess she would probably be like the queen of Midsommar. I guess would be. She would be probably the one in charge at the moment would be. So yeah, so.
It was explained that with the dance competition, she who survives has demonstrated that she has the stamina and the inner strength to be that kind of leader. So, again, what did they do? What do they do before everything in this entire wacky commune? They take drugs. They crush another seed. They mix it in an elixir. They toast and they smile. Down the hatch.
And they start dancing. And they continue dancing until one is left standing. So basically, they're hallucinating like shit, like crazy, and they now one by one. And Danny is midway through. She starts feeling it, and she's like, you know what? Fuck it.
She's actually the first time she's smiling. The first time she's really laughing. She's hallucinating, but she can actually hear and translate what the girls are saying. She's amazingly speaking Swedish now. She's going along with it. She keeps looking back, and there's Christian who looks like he's wigging out. He's having a bad trip. He's going like this. He's looking around. He keeps looking back, and he's there. She keeps looking back, and he's there, and he looks like he's in a bad spot.
Don't forget, he's already had the special cake and the special drink. So that could.
But then she turns around. He's not there anymore.
No.
Right. Christian has now been taken, brought over. Prior to this, he was asked, "How do you feel about the sister?" I forgot about that whole thing where he thought he was being interrogated for the missing tablet. But no, he was. How do you feel about so and so? And he didn't really put that together. He was really taken off guard. Like what? But now he's being because they were like he looks like he's in a bad trip.
Yeah,
where he's really, really taking to suggestion, and they're moving along to another house, and this is where again his play on sound. His play on visual is very powerful. He gets into this standalone structure, another temple type thing. There's no furniture. It's a wall. They give him a drink for his vitality, liquid Viagra, and there's a flower bed in the middle of the room, big room.
And the girls.
Who's in the middle? The sister's in the middle, naked, sprawled out on her back. And there's a semicircle arc of naked villagers. Naked, totally naked. They're holding their boobs.
All different shapes and sizes, different ages.
They're holding their boobs, but then they have a chant in unison.
Yes.
A rhythmic chant. You hear nothing else. and they move him along. He's stripped naked now. They move him along, and this is full body male scene. They move him along, and some women help him move along, get into position. This is a fertility act. They're gonna seal the deal. They're gonna do it.
Yes.
And because of the drugs, also because there's a willingness part of him to get some action, he engages willingly.
They help him thrusting, and they help him, and
they help him along. It's group.
Patients are going, they're pushing him, and it's like
we said, they do everything together.
Yes.
But I don't know how you feel. To me, the visual was great, and then he looks around like he's still tripping out. Like, is this really happening? This really happening? They focus him. She even focuses him. The sister on the ground, like, focus. Let's do this. And the chanting is almost deafening. It's an odd chant where it's both a little eerie and gory at the same time. It's in the mood, babe.
It's fucked up.
And so he is the outsider brought in to procreate, bringing in another genetic mix so that you don't have inbreeding. And that was his sole purpose there. He was drugged, coerced, and moved into place to get this done. And everyone is receptive and going along with it and supportive and chanting.
They're like,
It's freaking surreal. It blew my mind. Like, whoa.
Like, what the fuck?
Meanwhile, on the outside,
Danny wins.
Danny wins.
She's the May Queen, and they give her the crown of flowers and the whole thing.
The headdress with flowers.
And they take her on a trip. They take her on a trip, like, I guess, around the commune or whatever. And then,
right, I think she's gonna lay some seeds down and bury a dead fish, and they try to, and it's on purpose to get her away, and she outright won the competition, and then as they bring her back, she kind of gets back into reality. Like, okay, where's Christian? Where's Christian? And what does the one who's befriended her? There's one.
Ula. I think her name is Ula. I think her name is.
But she told, no, you must not, or you should not, or something like that. Kind of like, don't go. Just don't go. So she kind of gets the feeling. She goes to a few houses. She gets to that one house, and she looks through the peephole. Again, very well done from a cinematic point of view. She looks through the peephole, and you don't have to actually have her see. She sees what's happening. She knows what's happening, and she wants to vomit with disgust. And again, in the same vein, but totally different, her, I guess, maiden group?
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know what we're going to call them.
Shield maidens, whatever.
She laments. She cries hysterically, and they cry with her. And again, I found that to be scary. That's scarier for me than a slasher movie. Like, what are these people doing?
Cry in unison, and then when she gets mad, they are angered in unison with her.
That's the Borg, man.
And
this is
like, holy crap.
It's like we're tripping when they're tripping.
Yeah. And so Christian gets done. I guess he snaps out of it once done. He runs out.
He's naked running around.
Once naked running around, he's going from place to place, goes into a barn, goes to the barn, sees the flailed body of Simon.
That's Simon, right? He's filleted, baby. He's hanging out. He's being air to dry like beef jerky.
What is that thing called? He was oh man, actually saw it on Vikings. It's an actual torture which they actually did. It's jeez Louise. It's when they open up your rib cage from the back and take your lungs out, and then they rip the lungs out from their back, and they actually looks like wings. The lungs look like wings. It's called jeez Louise. Oh my gosh. It's I'll tell you right now. It's a blood eagle. There you go. A blood eagle, which victims were placed in a prone position, their ribs severed from the spine with a sharp tool, and their lungs pulled through the opening to create a pair of wings. The victim will supposedly be alive and conscious through the process and not die until sometime after, likely from blood loss. So, at this point, Simon, has these flowers in his eyeballs or whatever. Christian turns around. They blow some smoke in his eyes. Knocked out.
Killer Khan style.
Next.
I mean, obviously everything has happened already. Now comes the, I guess, conclusion to the ceremonies where the elders kind of sum up what's been happening here.
Nine
in
sacrifices.
part of their ritual, 9 sacrifices had to be made. 4 of their own, 4 from outside, and 1 chosen by
the May Queen.
Yours truly,
herself.
The May Queen. And
so
again,
he
goes for a visually stunning scene. She's in all flowers.
Yes.
She's in a flower dress.
In a flower cocoon, you see his head, and she has that look on her face and just flowers everywhere. So Ula tells Christian, she's like, okay, you can see me, you can hear me, but you can't move at all.
So he's in a wheelchair.
He's in a wheelchair, all jacked up like this. He's paralyzed, fully paralyzed. Now,
so I find this odd. Like, there's 2 who are spoken for. I guess they're, I don't know how they are. They're like in wooden tree molds. There's 2 volunteers.
One being
middle-aged men.
Brother, Pele's
right. Brother. Pele's brother volunteered. They're like in gold robes. And
fucking your boy.
Yeah. And now the 4
who killed Mark.
Mark, Josh, Simon, and Connie.
Yep.
So now the May Queen. Oh, I totally forgot. They do like a bingo. A little bingo machine to pull out who.
To pull out who's next. I guess each person has their own little rule, whatever. And they're like,
You can't get more bizarre than this shit.
And they were disappointed
so
when
they got everybody spoken for.
It's insane. So now,
it's up to the May Queen now. So Danny now has to decide who is the 9th final person for this.
So everyone is
sacrifice.
Obviously, she's gonna pick Christian, but can she really pick Christian? She loves Christian. That's her boyfriend. She doesn't know.
But the next scene is they're cutting up the bear. So some of the bear, I'm sure, is meat for food. Yes. But the main purpose of the bear, they gut his insides out. The bear is eviscerated, and the elder is telling the young boy why it's important to get the guts out intact, why is it to do this, and how to eviscerate. And who's in the eviscerating room or the taxidermy room is Christian in the wheelchair. So you kind of figure what's going on here. And they move the bear's body off to the side, and then they throw Christian's body onto the table. And you think they're going to start eviscerating him.
But they don't.
They cut immediately, but they don't. They don't show that. They cut immediately to the wheelbarrows full of the dead bodies who are going to be put into the sacred temple room, which nobody was allowed to go into in the very beginning. It's like this triangular shaped yellow building. And inside there's bales of hay, and they're propping up the bodies of the sacrificed people to set up, kind of like they're sitting there. It's like they're staging the room.
You have Simon. I guess he's like mutilated body. He's popped up in there. Mark is in there.
It's just odd.
In like a jester outfit, which harkens back to another scene where Pele and Simon goes, what are the kids doing? They'll say, oh, they're playing Skinning the Fool, which goes back full circle. They skin the fool being Mark, which they dressed him in a jester's hat. and they skinned them alive or dead.
Yes, that's why he has the skin face later. And then
have-
the two men who are volunteered are given the tree of Yule or
Tree of
whatever.
Yep, they tell them, drink this so you don't feel any, take from the youth
Oh,
tree, feel no pain.
but they do.
Take from the youth tree, feel no fear. Now,
It takes a different culture
it's all
to set
bullshit.
this up.
It's all bullshit.
But again, we can't be too on our high horses. Cultures throughout the world, maybe not in modern times, do human sacrifice. But
Of course.
this is
And
modern day. This
also-
is modern day, and they got the two guys there. And who's the last
the bear.
component? The bear. And they wheel in the bear. And who's in the bear?
Christians and the bear.
And is Christian alive?
Christian's alive.
Christian's alive. Again, he cannot speak. He cannot move. He definitely could see his eyeballs are moving. And he's like, what the fuck is happening here? They stuffed him whole
In the bear outfit. Well,
in the bear's
yeah.
outfit. He's in the center of the room. They got bales of hay everywhere. They got the people set up, the two live other people and everybody else who's dead. And then three men come in with these ceremonial masks with torches. And they light that baby up. As they leave the building, you see the buildings suddenly get consumed with fire, and it burns itself up. You hear the screams of the two guys. You obviously cannot hear Christian, but the camera pans back, and you see the bear with Christian inside starting to go up in flames. And there's some lamenting going on outside, but by and large, it's mostly, I guess, expressionless faces of the commune. They kind of look a little happy.
You also see Danny's face. Where
This is finish it, sir. You get the ending. Go knock this out.
has a wry smile, as you know, when it's all going up in flames. That she's finally.
She laments first.
She laments first.
She's all like wrought with regret and pain, and then
Which
she
in turn makes
turns
everyone
this
else-
frown.
Everyone else follows her.
Yes, it's very, very odd. I swear,
person in
it's
the
so
house,
well done.
the elders, even the lady, I guess, with the church. Which now that I'm thinking about it, maybe she was the May Queen from before. No, or for some reason.
Possible.
They're all subservient to right now to Danny, and they're feeling her pain, her anguish that her old life is going up in flames, and the man that she quote unquote loved and everything, they feeling it. So they're writhing in pain as well and screaming. Then when she calms down, they all calm down. And when she freaking has that smirk on her face, their anguish turns to jubilation, and they're like happy. She is where she was meant to be all along. And
let's get to it then, because the movie does well on many levels for what it is. Like you had mentioned before, in Sweden, it's more of a black comedy. And for the rest of the world, it's a movie that departs from Hollywood main formula. I totally agree with that. The ending has brought the most discussion. How do you feel? What are your thoughts on that ending?
well, look, I mean, albeit in a way, I wouldn't say it was predictable, even though it was. Like, you knew what was going on, but part of the enjoyment was also seeing it
play out,
seeing it happen, how it's happened. Like, you know that it's the slow burn. You know it's going to happen, at least, you know, for the most part. And you're like, wow, like the descent into, I'm not going to call it madness, but the descent into she is what she was destined to be, I believe. You know what I mean? She's with her family. Her family died when her sister took her sell her own life and her parents' life, which in turn
Murder
also,
suicide.
which in turn in a way also took Danny with her as well. So she came over here and she created a new family, and she found everything that she was missing. She found friends. She found a potential lover.
She found a home,
She found a home.
just like
She stayed with her family. I actually wrote that at the end. She stayed with her family.
Pele did say. Are you home? So she's home. I mean, okay, so the ending for me was perfect in the sense that it's a far departure than what Hollywood expects you to do.
Hold on. That's why I mean.
And because it does that, and the way he did it,
Mm-hmm.
she did cry, and it slowly morphed into kind of a demonic smile. It made, I mean, Ari himself has compared this to a melodrama, idyllic opera, adult fairy tale, perverse wishful thinking. I guess you could see it on a level where it's almost metaphorical when you break up with somebody. Because he did use the exact same words that this is a breakup movie. And I'm like, wow, this is a pretty bad breakup movie. You have mixed feelings. Forget about the actions for a moment. But your feelings are, at some point, you now hate the person you love for it being over.
Right.
But there's a little part of you. There's a little part of you that wish you don't go on to be better than me. That for the shit that you may have put me through, which at this point, he was supportive until the end when he was not, and he was unfaithful, and he was screwing another person in her moment of critical grief still. But her smile is kind of like how we all never want to admit that we would love to smile after
Like
breakup.
when you find out that your ex still is single or has gained 40 pounds or just got divorced or whatever, and you're like,
Well, yes. In this sense, your ex got crashed and burned in a fucking glorified, horrific fashion. And
we
all
don't want
of-
to get burned in
and
a
all of his-
building in a bear costume, but nonetheless.
And if you need icing and sprinkles on top, all of your bitch ass motherfucking friends are dead too.
Yeah, I never liked the motherfuckers either. So
They're not like me. I didn't like them, and now they're all burning up in hell. And you're right. Her family's over. She's got a new family. She's tripping. She's the May Queen. She's on top of the world.
Yeah.
From ear to ear. I love it how it's at this type of movie at the end with that smile kind of says, no apologies.
Yeah.
This is how I want it to end. I give him all the credit in the world, big brass balls. And you know what? He makes it work.
I thought she was great in the role of Danny. I thought, I'm not sure how many other actresses would have pulled that off.
Absolutely. And kudos to the whole cast in general. Everyone put a performance that was completely believable. The assholes were assholes. The townspeople, who, by the way, most of the cast were specifically chosen as Swedish actors or foreign actors that didn't have to speak English, which added, like, you didn't have to act that much. You didn't know what they were saying, you know. But the casting was perfect in the sense that they all looked the part. They all look the same. They all look inbred. They all look of very similar features. The setting, the backdrop, the use of colors, the play on sounds. I know you hated part of that, but I think as a whole,
my personal setup isn't great, Bill. You know, I mean, but besides that, yeah.
As a whole, I would have to say, this is your second film out. I would have to say it is on a masterpiece level. And I love movies that depart from the formula and they make it work. They don't just depart because they want to depart or they want to be different. He makes it work, and there's a lot of thought put into every scene, every artwork, every camera position, the actors, the choice of words, what he shows, what he doesn't show. Little subtleties like you picked up on, like the drink being a different color, like the kick in the ribs, subtle things that
Everything,
you have no doubt where things are going.
everything in the movie is shown. You watch the movie, everything is foretold, and you know where the story is going. There's no the Deus Ex Machina, nothing out of the blue that, oh, by the way, this happened because it happened. No. Everything has a purpose, has a point to what's going on. And if you see the director's cut, obviously they go. What you don't see is the death, the majority of the death of the friends, which obviously in the director's cut you do see all that. It goes more in depth to that, but everything has a purpose. Nothing is just laid out there. It's long. I mean, he takes no shortcuts. He doesn't give a fuck. It's not a commercial movie. It's not your traditional horror movie. So
It's a piece of art.
Yes, your traditional horror. If you're looking for a gory thing, you will like some parts, but there's no jump scares. There's no. It's a slow burn, a slow dread. It's a story that has a beginning and an end. And
yeah. I don't know how you feel, but for me, this had more permanence for me. It really was an impactful, powerful movie where days after I saw the ending, it was still with me to the point that I still researched different interviews, different insights, different articles. I wanted some clarity on certain things. And like, the folklore about, it, like I just told you, which made more sense and kind of tied things together, like the beautiful carpet that can tie a room together. He just came out of a breakup.
yeah,
So I can see how the whole thing now is almost on a metaphorical level, but as a movie level, this shit really happened. She really went through this shit. These people did fucking die. Let me ask you a question on a critical point of view as a viewer, not now a critic, but step away and just as a fan of movies. At the end, did you feel bereft, needing more, or did you feel fulfilled? End stop. I get it. Like, I needed more information.
you know what? I needed more information in the sense like I want to know more of the actual culture and the actual idea of Midsommar and all that stuff. But as far as the story is concerned, I was comfortable with that's it. I don't need to know what happens. I know that's it.
If you didn't have any more input about what happened.
Yeah, I'm completely fine. You don't need a sequel. I don't need to see anything else. I know that that's it. She's happy. She's with her family, and that's it.
I can say from someone who appreciates a good movie, a good filmmaker, who I can make the distinguishment between a commercial Hollywood movie that wants to generate income versus an artistic movie that has a meaning, a point, and somebody's labored expression of a story on film. This is really well done. I have no vested interest here except as a person who appreciates a well done story on film. I was very blown away by many of the accomplishments by the director writer. And as I read more and as I saw more, I was even more blown away by what went into this, the thought process of even just the costume design, but the story process. And it became less unsettling to me once I knew more about the backdrop, that he had a breakup, that he had this in mind, that the Swedish people came to approach him about a movie based on this folklore. And with you telling me about the director's cut, I kind of appreciate it now that he cut out those scenes, because there would be more towards a slasher gory movie. It's almost better that you didn't show all the drawn out death scenes. You get the gist. The main parts were not. The main parts weren't really horror, or it was.
It almost works more. It's more horror, not showing that than showing that. I mean,
yes.
You give the horror what they want, or the gore, but as we compare it to The Shining. You show it's slow burn. It's that sense of dread, which oh shit, it's coming. You feel it coming, and you can't stop it like a train. And blah, 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 blah. Once it hits the station, that's it.
I mean, the movie from beginning to end is filled with such trauma, such drama, such drawn out pain, such emotional twists and turn, polar perspectives, and I think it sums it up beautifully with that smile at the end. I had that oh shit moment, like oh shit,
Yep.
she
Yep.
freaking is smiling. She's happy. She's satisfied by this ending. She basically said, "Fucking A, fuck you,"
You know what?
and
I'm not.
goodbye world.
I'm not really too heartbroken about it in the end.
No, no, kind of like, you know what? Good for that bastard. Again, so in conclusion, I found this to be an outstanding piece of film with stunning creativity, visual effects, audio effects. I don't know what their budget was. I found it, but I did.
$9 million. I was just looking at that right now.
I mean, say that one more time.
9 million. Budget of 9 million, and the cumulative gross was about 47. So actually,
I mean, that's another jaw dropper. How can you make a movie for under $10 million these days? That boggles my mind.
You come in hungry and you use
Hungarian actors.
and
you skirt the SAG, I guess.
it's
My 2 cents at the end is this is a movie. Not sure you're gonna finish the whole bag of popcorn, but take the popcorn with butter and the fixings, the nachos with the dip. Take it all. Sit back, enjoy. You might want to take a big pillow with you, or a towel. Definitely a friend to lean on. Maybe a lot of emotional highs in terms, but I mean, otherwise, pinnacle movie. I would give it one of the highest ratings we can give as far as a movie. Please go and see it. That is my 2 cents. Izzy, how do you feel? What's your final rating?
definitely need to go see it. It gets our highest rating, popcorn, all the fixings and all that good stuff. I mean, but be advised, it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for your typical horror fans. It's not for people who have a short attention span. Again, that's not to insult.
Or if you just recently broke up.
It's a movie. You'll be there for 2 hours plus, but it's well worth the ride at the end. Enough said.
Wow.
Can't wait to watch Hereditary. And
yes, be on the lookout for that, which will be coming soon.
Next couple weeks, hopefully. And I can't wait to see what's next from Ari, the director. So definitely watch it. I know this went a little long, but let us know what you guys thought. Like, subscribe, comment, follow us on our podcast, follow us everywhere. We're on our social. And we'll bid you adieu. Everybody stay safe out there. I'm Izzy.
I'm Raka, and save the whales. Watch the movie.